So this is 2 Ezra 5 and verse 27. But Judas Maccabeus with 9 other or thereabout withdrew himself into the wilderness and lived in a mountain after a man of beast with his company, who fed on herbs continuously, lest they should be partaker of the pollution. Praise be to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kakadash, the Buhana to the elder and apostle of the Jerusalem who do well, peace, blessing, salvation to the Akiamu pushes tools to the four winds of the heaven. So I am here today to do a lesson about herbs, man. Herbs and the fruit, those are the same things, man, because the fruit come from a tree, and the fruit heal, man. This is different juices, different fruit, but I am here to let you know a few things, man. You should be eating fruits, you should be eating herbs, but there are some fruit which have the highest concentration of fructose, man. I know one or two things in these things, man, about health, about medicine, because I have been in college studying medicine, man. So I know. That's why when you have low blood glucose, they don't give you juice. They don't give you juice. They give you what do you call it? Cokes and all different kind of sodas, man, to drink, because they got a kind of carbohydrate which is quick to be digested. And when we come to fruit, they got the highest concentration of fructose, and the fructose it requires time to be digested, so it stays on the liver and everywhere, man. So for you brothers who are at risk of having diabetes, or you already have diabetes, man, or you brothers who are at risk of having heart diseases, man, hey, man, we live in curses, man. We haven't been saved, man, so we should do the best of our ability, man, to avoid this pollution like the Maccabees did, man. We live under the curses. I'm not saying this will cure you completely, but try to minimize the effect, man. So another thing is I will be doing lessons on health here and there. So this dude, this Edomite, is Dr. Sam Robbins. What he is saying in this video is true, man. But don't follow everything he is saying, man. Your life will be difficult, because if you follow everything this health practitioner are saying, man, you will find you have only 2 fruit or 1 fruit to eat, man. I am just telling you should be careful, man. Even when you are eating this fruit with high concentration of fructose, man, you need to be careful and eat them not frequent, man. That's it, man. So you need to be careful, man. And for you brothers who, I have told you, for you brothers who are at risk of having diabetes, because when you have diabetes, man, diabetes is a high risk factor for many diseases, many diseases, man. The same way you are not supposed to eat pork, man. And in herbs, there are certain herbs you are not supposed to eat them in your highest concentration, man. Even our forefathers back then knew these things, man. When our nation failed, we lost everything. I am not saying that the Bible forbids to eat fruit, man. No, I am telling you to be careful. And there are certain fruit which have high concentration of fructose, man, which lead to diabetes. And diabetes, when you have diabetes, you are in a high risk to get every disease under the earth, man. Heart disease, everything you can name, man. Your hormone failing, man, testosterone dropping, man, erectile dysfunction, man, everything you can name. So I will leave you with this video. This doctor going to take you to this fruit, man. I will do another lesson on different matters.
Hi everyone, it's Dr. Sam Robbins. Today you'll discover the best and worst fruits to eat and avoid, also how much and the best times you should eat fruit. So I'll be honest with you, I just love fruit, but it wasn't always that way. I remember being very young and drinking Coca-Cola in crushed ice on a hot summer day. It was awesome. It tasted yummy and it was refreshing. But my mom would tell me not to drink cola because it's not good for my teeth. Of course, there was no mention of it being bad for my health, just not good for my teeth. Then she would slice me up some apple wedges and she'd give me a slice. And I remember thinking, yuck, this is horrible. Of course, compared to the addictive and super sweet qualities of cola, the natural fruit just didn't taste as good. Of course, now that I'm older and wiser, things are different. And I bring up today's topic because both soda and an apple, or most fruits, contain fruit sugar called fructose. However, each reacts very differently in the body, the soda versus the fruit. One of them should never be consumed, while the other one can be consumed but in limited amounts and preferably during certain times of the year. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. Now, many people or experts will tell you that it's okay to have fruit, right? It's natural. Plus, as an added bonus, fructose, that sugar found in fruits, has a lower or pretty low glycemic index than most carbohydrates and thus does not cause your blood sugar levels to rise much, which is great. However, excess consumption of fructose does end up putting a burden on your liver. In fact, some research has shown that fructose is processed in the small intestine at first. When too much is consumed, it spills over into the liver. But why the liver? Because it's now believed that fructose can actually be a toxin, and that's why it goes to your liver, your body's natural detoxifying filter. The liver can only hold a certain amount of fructose, which I'll tell you about in a minute. And once over that certain amount, it gets converted into fat. Now, unlike carbohydrates that are glucose-based, which can actually be stored in muscles. And if you exercise and have lots of muscles, you can obviously store a lot more carbohydrates and eat a lot more glucose and regular carbs. So even though fructose is natural and has a low glycemic index, it can make you fat. And it can also increase your risk for heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. It's also linked to elevated triglycerides, increase in cholesterol levels, higher blood pressure, which is a big one, and also insulin resistance. But again, don't worry, certain fruits are okay to eat, especially in specific amounts. Now, many packaged foods, especially like sodas, contain high fructose corn syrup. And this is not natural. It's man-made. It's a very highly concentrated source of, fructose, which is that sugar found in fruits. To make a long story short, because I just don't care to bore you with all the medical and scientific jargon, you should avoid all syrups. This means that high fructose corn syrup, which this is everywhere and it's cheap and it's bad for you. Corn syrup, agave syrup, agave nectar, yes, this is very bad for you and contains actually more fructose than that horrible high fructose corn syrup. Maple syrup, chocolate syrup, and also honey, unless you eat some small amounts of raw honey is okay. But again, no syrups, all right? So make sure you always read the labels. Now, the main issue with all of these syrups is that it's just dense, full of calories, and it takes little time for you to consume them. Thus, it immediately overloads your body. And again, this is not natural. However, fruit is different. Sure, fruit has some fructose, sugar in it, but it also has lots of water and fiber and antioxidants and polyphenols and vitamins and other healthy nutrients. It also takes time to eat fruit and chew it and digest it. And this is all good. It's natural. Of course, not all fruit is the same or has the same benefits. So let's talk about the fruits that you should avoid. Fruit juice. Yes, again, it's highly concentrated calories. It lacks fiber. Eat the fruit, not just the fruit juice. Dried fruit. It's lacking in the two most important parts of the fruit, the water and some of the fiber. Plus, it's not fresh, and thus many of the valuable nutrients have been killed off. Then we have jams, again, very highly concentrated and actually usually contains added sugars. And finally, canned fruits. Again, not natural. They contain preservatives, sometimes added sugars, and they're heated many times, so they're again lacking nutrients. Okay, so those are the fruits you should not eat. Let's talk about the ones you can and should eat. Berries, all right? Most berries are really good to eat. Blackberries and cranberries, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, and so forth. And this includes cherries. The thin skin allows more nutrients to be created from the sun. Fortunately, it also allows more toxins and pesticides to enter, so make sure you eat these in organic form. Then we have melons. These have lots of water and are typically just lower in calories because of it. Watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, they're all great. Then we have grapefruit and lemons. Yep, they're all fruits, and they're great. They're low in calories, so have as much as you want. Oranges have lots of great benefits as well, lots of water. Then we have green plantains and bananas. These are good because they have much lower sugar content, even though they may not taste as good as the yellow ones because they're obviously not as sweet. Then we have apples and pears. They're okay to eat in small amounts, but make sure they are organic, especially the apples. Lots of pesticides are used on apples, and they've grown in size over the past few decades and thus a lot more sugar. And finally, we have things like pineapples and grapes, ripened and yellow bananas and plantains and mangoes. Now, these are some of my favorite fruits. They taste the best because they also have the most amount of sugars. These for sure need to be limited. And when to eat the fruit? Fruit should be eaten like dessert, all right? I actually suggest you have a piece of fruit if you're craving something sugar, right? Or in between meals if you're hungry and you want to kill your appetite. It won't raise your blood sugar much, and it will keep you going, right? It will prevent you from eating something bad. It's also easy to digest. An ideal time to eat fruit would be after exercise, when your liver has been depleted of some of the fructose, and thus you can fill it up a little bit without it spilling over and converting to fat. You should also eat fruits that are in season. Thus, for example, having watermelon during the summer. Granted, these days, any and all fruits seem to be in season and available at your local supermarket all year long. But try to eat seasonal fruits. And finally, how much fruit should you eat, right, before it spills over and turns into fat from the liver? I suggest no more than 25 grams of fructose daily, which is about 100 calories. Personally, I do notice that when I have more fruit, I do start to actually gain more body fat, all right? Maybe due to me eating more calories from the fruit or just the higher fructose. I'm not sure. Nevertheless, I suggest you limit your fructose and only eat it as a treat, like dessert. So hopefully this video was helpful. I've also done videos about the vegetables, which to eat and avoid. You can get access to those videos